are so beautiful to watch that I was just like,
well, hello.
I was just like,
If you've been following Hollywood headlines, you've likely caught whispers about Blake Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and actor-director Justin Baldoni. The rumor mill is working overtime, churning out stories of a secret fling, hidden motives, and backstage drama that threatens to topple the image of one of Tinseltown's most beloved couples. At first glance, the idea that Blake, famous for her red carpet poise and lighthearted social media banter, might have strayed from her picture-perfect marriage sounds far-fetched. But whispers keep surfacing that something deeper is going on, and the details are too vivid to ignore. Some point to subtle shifts in behavior during the filming of a new project. Others see cryptic online posts suggesting a more complicated truth. Suddenly, the words lawsuit and harassment are swirling around Blake and Justin, casting an ominous shadow over what once seemed like harmless on-set chemistry. Fans want answers, critics smell scandal, and everyone else is left wondering if there's more than meets the eye. Did Blake genuinely cross a line, or are these rumors the product of feverish imaginations? It all feels like a puzzle. Every piece we find only raises more questions. Could Blake, who has a history of bonding strongly with co-stars, have found a connection with Justin that threatened her marriage? Did Justin overstep professional boundaries, or is he the target of a narrative spun to shield Blake from scrutiny? Perhaps the biggest question of all is whether the Lively-Reynolds union can survive this firestorm if there's any truth to it. Sometimes, the mere hint of scandal can shake even the most stable foundations. Oddly enough, these rumblings didn't begin with Blake or Ryan, but with Justin Baldoni himself. He's known for discussing masculinity, faith, and family values, hardly someone you'd expect in a romantic scandal. Yet buzz started when cast and crew members noticed how at ease Blake and Justin seemed around each other, exchanging laughs and glances that hinted at a chemistry beyond the script. Before long, hush-hush talk about disagreements surfaced. Who had final say on intimate scenes? Did Blake push for more steamy interactions? Or was Justin the one escalating them? Allegedly, she wanted to rely on her own instincts instead of hiring an intimacy coordinator, while he claimed to be the one championing professional guidelines. Both sides offered different versions, leaving onlookers uncertain about who was telling the full truth. Adding fuel to the fire were Blake's playful social media comments on Justin's workout posts, specifically referencing what it would be like if he tried those routines pregnant. Observers interpreted that as flirting, but others insisted it was simply her sense of humor at work. Meanwhile, Ryan remained uncharacteristically silent, heightening suspicions that something was amiss. If the rumors had been baseless, wouldn't Ryan have chimed in with a witty retort or a casual dismissal? Silence, in Hollywood, often speaks volumes. Though Blake is beloved for her warm personality, fans have noted her history of connecting deeply with co-stars. She famously dated Penn Badgley while they portrayed an on-screen couple in Gossip Girl. She later fell for Ryan Reynolds on the Green Lantern, set at a time when he was technically still tied to Scarlett Johansson, and rumors swirled about her rapport with Ben Affleck during The Town. Whether these were innocent friendships or genuine flirtations remains debated, but they left a pattern that some find telling. In interviews, Blake has often stated she brings her real self into each role. For her, tapping into personal experiences enhances authenticity. It's a style of acting that can lead to electric on-screen connections, but could also blur personal boundaries. Critics argue she occasionally allows real-life emotions to bleed into fictional scenarios, risking confusion and heartbreak. Admirers counter that her genuine approach is what makes her performances feel so natural. The speculation around Justin Baldoni only sharpened this perception. Some fans believe Blake relishes the initial rush of a powerful on-screen bond, particularly in romantic dramas. They argue that she invests so fully in the setting and costumes that the lines between her real life and her character's existence can temporarily blur. Whether that's a fair assessment or unfair conjecture is up for debate. However, the consistent chatter about her forming deep attachments on set complicates her situation whenever new rumors emerge. This latest project magnified every potential spark. Reports indicate heated discussions about creative control. Did Justin insist on rewriting certain scenes to amplify intimacy, or was it Blake urging him to embrace the romance? Rumors say they clashed over costume choices, with Blake wanting to wear pieces from her own closet to feel more like herself. Some insiders claim Justin was uncomfortable with that level of autonomy, preferring a professional costume designer to set the tone. Things got murkier when Blake alleged Justin entered her trailer uninvited while she was breastfeeding. He fired back, saying it was a scheduled run-through and that she never asked him to wait. Supporters of Blake viewed Justin's behavior as a violation, while his defenders see it as a misunderstanding inflated into something sinister. According to some, tensions soared after scenes appeared too intimate once footage was reviewed. Blake claimed she'd felt pressured to perform closer than anticipated takes, while Justin's camp says any closeness was scripted from day one. Neither side could agree on how those scenes went from standard Hollywood romance to borderline uncomfortable. Yet both seemed determined to protect themselves by collecting official emails, saving text messages, and notifying studio executives. The acrimony lurking beneath the surface grew too big to ignore. Everything took a sharp turn when Blake filed a complaint with California's civil rights authorities, claiming harassment and retaliation by Justin and certain production team members. She indicated feeling isolated, as though the studio promised support but left her exposed once cameras stopped rolling. These charges carry the potential for lengthy investigations, significant fines, and public trials, setting the stage for a battle that goes well beyond a film set. Justin responded with a robust countersuit for $400 million, accusing Blake of defamation and civil extortion. His attorneys argued she was twisting events to smear him, jeopardizing his public standing as an advocate for women's empowerment. Beyond that, Justin went after the New York Times for allegedly skewed coverage in Blake's favor, claiming it damaged his professional opportunities and personal reputation. The magnitude of these lawsuits startled fans and insiders. How had a seemingly friendly on-set dynamic spiraled into legal warfare involving hundreds of millions of dollars? Suddenly, social media and gossip blogs had more to discuss than a flirtation. They were dissecting serious allegations that could derail the careers of two well-liked figures in Hollywood. Adding to the confusion were the whispers of gag orders, potential settlements, and a rush by each side to secure the upper hand in public opinion. The deluge of leaked text messages, ambiguous set videos, and sensational tabloid headlines fueled a fervent online debate. Some labeled Blake a cold manipulator with a track record of entangling co-stars. Others championed her as a victim in a male-dominated industry, simply pushing back against a project that demanded too much, too soon. The polarization was swift, with hashtags emerging overnight and fans launching impassioned defenses of their chosen side. Meanwhile, Justinfamous for his open discussions on vulnerability and empathy found his public persona under fire. How could a man who encourages emotional honesty be entangled in accusations of disrespecting boundaries? His supporters maintained he was the real victim here, scapegoated by an actress who's unaccustomed to rejection. But critics argued that real life often contradicts a star's curated image. They insisted the gap between one's public platform and private actions can be vast. Ryan Reynolds hovered like a distant figure in the backdrop. Usually quick with witty remarks, he said nothing. Fans speculated he was either in damage control mode or genuinely shocked by events unfolding under his nose. Was the marriage under strain? Or was Ryan playing the long game, staying silent to avoid complicating the legal ramifications? Nobody knew, and that uncertainty only fueled more talk. Silence can be as provocative as any statement in Hollywood, especially when it involves a power couple who built a brand on humor and charm. This scandal also lifted the curtain on an industry that runs on deals, favors, and unspoken rules. With big money at stake, studios often go to great lengths to avoid controversy, but this time the conflict seems to have slipped out of everyone's hands. Instead of quiet settlements or hushed negotiations, every twist and turn appeared online. The attempt to control the story was failing spectacularly, revealing tensions that rarely reach the public eye. Colleen Hoover, the best-selling author behind the original story, found herself in a tight spot. Initially thrilled to have her novel adapted, she praised Justin for his insights and sincerity. However, as soon as Blake's lawsuit broke, Colleen offered vague support for her, leaving observers to wonder if she'd truly changed her stance or simply calculated that backing Blake was the safest move. In Hollywood, alliances can shift rapidly if someone senses a threat to their own reputation or future deals. The studio's stance remained murky. Insiders claim executives tried to remain neutral at first, but as legal suits piled up, they appeared to lean toward whichever side best protected their bottom line. Some believe they sided with Blake to maintain a good rapport with her influential circle of friends and fans. Others argue that loyalty to Justin's vision initially guided them, only to backtrack when the scandal ballooned. The real story is lost in the labyrinth of corporate strategy and personal connections, leaving both cast and audience in disarray. What began as idle chatter about on-set sparks has erupted into a storm of allegations, lawsuits, and shattered alliances. Blake's squeaky clean reputation hangs in the balance, casting doubt on the authenticity of a public persona that once seemed unimpeachable. Justin's carefully built image as a compassionate storyteller and ally stands at risk. Both insist they possess the real evidence that will vindicate them, yet the public hasn't seen conclusive proof from either camp. The question of Ryan's involvement still looms. A marriage that many considered the gold standard for Hollywood couples could be on shaky ground. or perhaps these rumors barely scratch the surface of their private life. No one can know for sure. The absence of any trademark wit from Ryan only fuels speculation that tensions may be simmering at home. Even if his marriage emerges intact, the mere suggestion of wrongdoing or emotional betrayal can leave a lasting imprint on how fans perceive them. Then there's the film at the center of this chaos. Will the final product ever see the light of day as intended? If it does, will viewers be able to watch the steamy scenes without combing them for secret signals and real-life parallels? Some wonder if distributors might shelve the project altogether, fearing it can't recover from the taint of scandal. Others see the controversy as a twisted marketing windfall, certain to drum up interest from the simply curious. Ultimately, this saga reveals how precarious the line between personal and professional can be. Actors often talk about chemistry, but rarely do we see that intangible spark spiral into a legal inferno. At best, this story might stand as a cautionary tale about miscommunication, inflated egos, and the dangers of letting rumors take on lives of their own. At worst, it could signal a monumental downfall for individuals who once seemed untouchable. If the lawsuits result in public trials, we may see testimonies exposing every private detail. Texts and emails could emerge that definitively place blame on either side of your paint, both as equally at fault, or the parties may settle behind closed doors, agreeing to never speak of it again. Either way, onlookers are left grappling with the knowledge that even in an industry built on illusions, the real heartbreak and conflict can be far more dramatic than anything on screen. For now, all anyone can do is watch and speculate, waiting for the next revelation in an unfolding drama that feels too juicy to be real and yet, somehow, too real to be just gossip. The story doesn't end with a clean fade-out or a triumphant finale. Instead, it lingers, overshadowed by the quiet possibility that what truly happened might be far messier and more heartbreaking than any film could capture.